Welcome to Scoop World Orders Game Day. We are breaking down some breaking injury news. Some guys are out. Trey Henderson is questionable. We're going to get into all of that. Happy game day. Time to beat the Boilermakers. See who could project to step up and have a bigger role today. As always, we appreciate you guys. We will be doing a post-game show probably about an hour after the game. We usually like to rewatch it, get our thoughts together, and get it all in. But we appreciate you guys leaving us a like, clicking, subscribe. Also clicking that little alert bell. Shout out where you guys are watching from. And write your comments. What are your plans today? Where are you watching it at? I know it's on the Peacock at noon. So we're going to get right into it with Nevada. Nevada Pete Thamel reporting Mayan is out today. Emeka Egbuka did not make the trip on his birthday today. Trey Henderson is very questionable. Does this change anything, or is this still going to be the Chip Trainham show going forward?
I mean, to me, it doesn't. I've been thinking all week this might be the time that we see Dallin Hayden. Other people think we might be saving him for later. You know, in the new redshirt rules, the redshirt rules are different now that you can play a guy 4 games. You know, it used to be the old Sammy Maldonado, play one play, lose your red shirt, and everybody kind of loses their mind. But you can play 4 games now without it affecting your red shirt. So this might be one of those games, and you know, does it change anything from my perspective? No. You know, Purdue's running backs out. I just think I just really have a feeling this is a game that we roll. Now, could be wrong. That's why there's betting. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm betting Ohio State. I'm actually going against the trend. The line's down to 18. I bet it at 19, and I'm still feeling good, standing tall on my action. So. I still think Ohio State's going to just absolutely stifle him, and you know, hey, your Trey's if Trey plays, he'll be limited. But hey, Chip and Dallin, let's go, let's do it, and maybe it means we throw more, and means more Carnell Tate, and more Carnell Tate is never a bad thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think you play Trey as little as humanly possible this week versus a team that we're almost 3 touchdown favorites against. Because with Penn State looming next week, you're going to need him next week. So this is a week where fire up Chip. If you got to burn one of Dallin's games, I mean, Evan Pryor is like the king enigma on the entire team to me because he was so good in the spring game 2 years ago, tears his ACL. After that spring game when he balled out, I mean, they had to get some money together because, I mean, there were teams hitting him up hard in the portal that wanted to make him a feature back. And now he's just been like persona non grata. You never even hear his name. He's not even like really on the depth chart with Dallin. But I know that with Dallin Hayden, they said, hey, business decision. Let's redshirt you this year after playing last year. Let's get you to be the feature back next year because the depth chart is going to be crystal clear after Trey takes off for the league. Mayan's gone. Chip's gone. So Dallin's going to be the number 1 guy come next spring. But I think it's going to be fascinating to see what's the rotation look like? I can't imagine you're not just going to lean on Chip and give Chip 20 to 25 carries today. I think he's the guy. He's head and shoulders ahead of Mayan, who's out today. And it's going to be interesting. Who do you think steps up in the absence of Emeka Egbuka? Again, Emeka, bad ankle. Again, I think it's smart to not travel a guy, even though he's a leader and he's an energy guy. I just think if a guy has a bad ankle, what's the point of him standing on the sideline for 3.5 hours when he could be in Columbus, getting treatment, propping it up, taking care of it. I think that's a smart decision by Ryan Day because, again, Penn State is looming. If this was Penn State this week, they'd have to find a way to get everybody on deck. But who do you think steps up in the wake of Emeka being out?
Well, you would think I'd say a wide receiver, but I think it's going to be Cade Stover. I think we're going to hit the tight end more. I think they've made a conscious effort. Had some huge plays last week in a tighter than we thought game against Maryland. Been working it all week. Now, will they dial it up in the games? You never know with Ryan Day in the play sheet. But I'm going to say Cade Stover. I think Cade will see a lot more balls this week. And these are fun games. These are the fun games where you got a little bit of weather, you got a little bit of adversity, you got an overmanned opponent. And now this is the time to get back to Ohio State football where we just throttle them with our defense, choke them out, sack them, turn them over, and score bunches of points on short fields and get on to Penn State before you know it. But I think this could be the day.
Yeah, I think that's when you're in these weather games, like the defense is so critical and the running game, if it's not super windy, but when you're in, it rained all night last night, so the field will probably be dry. But I just think that when you've got a defense that's playing the way ours is, and Purdue, I've got a great source inside Purdue's program right now that told me they're really worried about getting ran out of the gym today because this is a really beat up Purdue team. I mean, they're starting tailbacks out, the O line's beat up, so we're not the only team that has injury issues right now. Purdue is really beat to crap. So I think that Xavier Johnson just seems like he's due to get some more runs, some more touches, working in the slot where Mecca normally would be. I'd love to see Carnell Tate get some more burn because I think that coming down the stretch as the season gets longer and harder and guys are getting injured, you're going to need some of these young guys that are depth pieces to step up and take prominent roles. So it'd be wonderful if we could get this thing out of reach and get some of these young guys in because I just think that you're going to need those guys down the stretch. Again, I'm past the point we've talked ad nauseam about Jaden Ballard. I don't think that he's in the cards here. The coaches don't seem to either. But I think that X and Carnell are guys that you got to get rolling. Nevada, as we look into this, if you're Ryan Day and Trey is questionable, how do you manage him? Now, obviously, you're not a doctor, and obviously we have Penn State, Wisconsin. We have a big 2-game stretch coming up. Do you scratch him? Do you play him? Do you try to get him a few carries to keep his conditioning level up? What's your thought on Trey?
That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one because there's good arguments for both. I'd probably, if I was Ryan Day, I'd probably lean towards the let's keep him out, especially with what happened last year to Jackson Smith and Jigba, still fresh in all of our minds. I think I'd probably sit him. But, the thing about injuries at Ohio State, at a place like Purdue, you've injured and you go from guy A to guy B. That's a pretty significant step down. At Ohio State, you go from guy A to guy 1A who's super motivated to be out there. Because, while we're sitting here as fans talking about, oh, man, it's a bummer that Emeka's out. Oh, it's a bummer that Mayan's out. Oh, it's a bummer that Trey's limited. There's somebody, the law of physics dictates that while we're experiencing disappointment, there's somebody else in absolute ecstasy over this news. And you mentioned guys like Xavier Johnson or Dallin Hayden or something. I mean, somebody else is really excited about the fact that, hey, I'm going to get a chance to play now. I'm going to get a chance to do my thing. This may be my moment at Ohio State to step up and do something special. We saw that last year from Xavier Johnson in really limited action. Xavier Johnson went from a guy that absolutely nobody knew on the team to a captain.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go. What higher honor can you have for a guy that was a former walk-on to do that? And he did it by balling out and doing it in game time. If he was just a great kid, but he never made any plays, he's not the captain. But, I think this is a great opportunity for some other kids are going to be up there and getting a chance to ball out. That's what I'm going to be watching today, and that's what makes games like this so darn exciting. And I looked at the national weather, so I've been following the weather pretty carefully, probably more than I should. But it didn't seem like it was going to be that bad. I think a lot of people were predicting like hurricane, and I just didn't see it. Now, maybe it turns out that way, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. Now, like I said, maybe I'll eat those words and there'll be 900-mile-an-hour winds and driving rain and everything else like that. But I thought it was going to be, scattered showers or something. And if that happens, advantage Ohio State, and let's get it on.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're right. I mean, the drop-off from Trey, who I think is fantastic. Trey's head and shoulders above everyone else in our tailback room, but Chip's coming. I mean, Chip to me is an NFL running back. I know that sounds crazy, but you got to remember at Arizona State, he was 1-1A with the guy who's starting for the Tampa Bay Bucks right now, and they were a dynamic duo. And I think that he's got NFL attributes, and the more he plays, the more I like watching him play, and that's why he's basically taken Mayan Williams is riding shotgun last year with Trey, and Mayan's kind of the third guy now. He's bumped down the depth chart, and I'm excited to see what Chip can do. Again, Xavier is one of the greatest stories in Ohio State history with the fact that he scores the big touchdown against Notre Dame, scores against Georgia, and something that I wish that we would do more of where they had him as kind of the sidecar, a shotgun running back. And they had him run a go route versus a helpless linebacker, and he ran right past him, scored a touchdown. Like, I would love to see some more ingenuity on offense and use him as a running back, because I think when you match him up with his wide receiver skill set versus linebackers, that's terrifying. And I like terrifying matchups. Like, I think Marvin against anybody is a win. I think if you put Carnell in the slot, that's a win. Innis in the slot. I just think there's certain guys that you got to get them in the right spots, and I think Xavier is much more dangerous out of the backfield versus some unsuspecting linebacker than he is versus a nickel. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the O line does. I'm excited to see how we handle, a little bit of weather. Again, Purdue is an absolute dump to play at. Is the worst, maybe the worst stadium in the Big Ten. It's always empty. It's always cold. It's always crappy. It's loud. They play the stupid train whistle. So I'm excited to see how these guys handle a Big Ten road game before they go to the big one up at Camp Randall in a couple weeks. Well, we'll wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts, Nevada? Any adjustment to the prediction? Or are you still going with a big Buckeye blowout?
Nah, I'm still sitting at 49-7. This just has the feeling of a big Buckeye blowout to me. Last year we throttled Purdue when they had a pretty good quarterback, an NFL caliber quarterback, and our defense wasn't great. This year they don't have an NFL quality quarterback, and we have a great defense, and I just think that's going to make it a long afternoon for the Boilers.
Totally agree. So I'm going to wrap this show up. As always, we appreciate you guys being a part of the show. We'll do a post-game show about an hour after the game. We will be breaking down film right after the game. So if you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. We'll let you know every time we are getting ready to roll on these shows. Again, our post-game show, probably about an hour after the game. Let it digest a little bit and see what's going on. But we appreciate you guys for joining us so much, as always. I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys either bought Peacock or found somewhere to watch the game. And I look forward to seeing you guys afterwards. If you guys want the best Ohio State experience there is, join BuckeyeScoop.com, because our game thread is already on and popping, the largest game thread in the industry. It always gets crazy on there, so I can't wait to dive into that today. That being said, as always, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. Time to go beat those Boilermakers. Go Bucks.